Well, good afternoon. I have 1 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and get started. And I'd like to welcome everyone to the Complete Florida Invitation to Partner webinar. I'm Michelle Horton. I'm the director of Complete Florida, and I want to thank you for giving up your time today. We know how busy everyone is now more than ever. We'll be recording this presentation and offering follow-up meetings to discuss further how we can partner together to support more returning adult learners as they come back to college to finish their degrees. Just a couple of housekeeping items before we get started. As I mentioned, we are recording this session, so feel free to share with others. Please mute your microphones and post questions in the chat room. Allison Romer, Partner Development Manager, will monitor the chat and make sure that your questions get addressed. Today, we will cover some background on Complete Florida, from how we started and what we've learned, and some of the benefits of partnering with us to support returning adult learners and the state's degree completion initiative. There are 2.2 million Floridians with some college credit and no degree. In 2013, the state legislature funded Complete Florida, an initiative to address this population by providing services to people who started college but never finished. And we really have learned a lot from this particular initiative, and we're really interested in partnering to strengthen the outreach efforts and the impact that working together can have. What we learned from this work is there's not a one-size-fits-all model. These students have unique lives and experiences, from single parents to military veterans to career changers. So, we realize this is not going to be an opportunity for us to just send out one invitation and invite people to come back and expect them to come back right away. It's an effort that requires partnerships and specific strategies to help make the completion pathway something that aligns with the busy lives of returning adult learners. In order to address the need for options among this population, Complete Florida has partnered with 22 institutions in Florida to offer certificate, associate, and bachelor degree programs in high-demand industry areas such as IT, education, business, healthcare, as well as general degree completion. The representation of institutions include Florida's public state colleges and universities, along with private nonprofit institutions. We're happy to announce that already this year, in light of everything that has happened and the challenges that we all face, we've added 2 new partnerships: Hillsborough Community College and Florida Southwestern State College. And we're continuing to work with other institutions who want to come on board as well, so we can align our work together. But what we know is that options alone is not enough to serve this population. We often hear people state they want to return, but they don't know where to begin. So coaching is really the foundation of our work, from initial interest all the way through graduation. Our Complete Florida coaches help people navigate that pathway using the most accessible, affordable, and accelerated options. The use of a common application process allows students to shop for options that will consider the most credit for what they've already earned, and perhaps some professional experiences could result into credit or alternative credits such as CLEP exams. Another effective strategy for recruiting returning adult learners is to provide support to our partner institutions with Stop Out campaigns. We work with institutions to help them conduct regular outreach to students who have stopped and develop strategies that support completion efforts. One really good example that we've had some success with some of the institutions is providing scholarships for students who are not receiving financial aid because of standard academic performance or satisfactory academic performance. And so when we're able to provide funding to help people build upon their credits and their progress towards degree, they eventually can get to the financial benefits of Pell Grants, perhaps, that they didn't have access to upon initial returning. So that's just one example of the strategic ways in which we're looking to provide better support for our returning adult learners. And on the surface, some college and no degree appears to be low-hanging fruit, but there are many considerations for and decisions for returning adult learners. And the time to decision, from our experience, we have observed up to 2 years or more for returning adult learners to decide just to come back. And some of the things they say is they're not sure where to start. The process is impersonal. They're too busy and they can't afford it. So what we see a lot of times are people are coming back with approximately 30 credits, but because of their working full time and the fact that they have families to manage, they're taking just 1 or 2 classes at a time. So in a lot of cases, upon returning, it could take 5 semesters to complete an associate degree or up to 15 semesters for a bachelor's. And just because they've made the commitment to return to college, it doesn't mean that the life events that they've experienced in the past won't continue to happen. We often hear people say, well, I got married or divorced, or I had a child or a sick parent, or financial hardships or job changes all continue to happen as they return. And so it could still take up to 4 to 7 years to graduate. So our initial upfront efforts to identify any ways for affordable and accelerated processes for degree completion is really vital for any returning adult learner. We've taken some time to gather survey results from our annual student survey, and we received 600 participant results from our summer survey last year. And these were from enrolled students, responses from graduates, and responses for not yet enrolled participants. It really shed some light on the obstacles that are preventing students from finishing faster. For example, 52%, as I mentioned earlier, take only 1 or 2 courses per semester. 40% have an average debt over $10,000. That's a really huge number. 57% are first generation students. 23% of the respondents were receiving Pell. 57% of the respondents made less than $50,000 per year in household income, while 51% had children under the age of 18. 77% indicated they were employed and most were full-time. And 64%, which is very common in higher ed, of students were female. So this shed a little bit of light on why our students stop, and not only why they stop, but why they have trouble returning and completing. So when we did a little bit of investigation of what a student looks like before they come to complete Florida, what we saw was pretty remarkable and really made us understand the value of having a coach along your side to completion. And this is a timeline of one of our example Complete Florida graduates. And some of the things here that this shows is that it took 15 years for this particular graduate to complete a degree. They had 5 stop outs during their time to completion, and they went to 4 different institutions. And that is critical to know, because with every stop, time and money is lost. With every change of institution, more time and money is potentially lost, because you think about the having to navigate a new admissions process, maybe some of your credits don't transfer, and you know, every time you do that, you're just losing a lot more in regards to progress towards degree. So this is one example. Another example is this particular graduate took 18 years to complete, stopped 11 times, and went to 7 different institutions. So but what you will notice, just like with the past one, once they enrolled in Complete Florida, They were able to understand at the very beginning what it was going to take to persist and complete, how much it was going to cost, what scholarships they may be eligible for. And so it was, it's a very good indication that this monitoring of persistence is what our returning adult learners need. And this is one last example of a timeline of one of our graduates who took 20 years to complete, only stopped out twice, but had an 8-year gap between completing an associate's degree and starting a bachelor's degree. So the key here is that the understanding of students are going to have life events, and especially if they're returning to college from stopping from one life event, we need to expect they're going to have continued life events that we need to help them navigate their pathway to completion through. So some of the student perceptions about Complete Florida were that 93% of students feel a strong sense of support from their coach. 90% of students indicated they were able to easily access resources through Complete Florida. And coach guidance was ranked higher than financial support in their decision to return to college. Many people, many of our partner institutions often say, well, we do this same work. Why should we partner with Complete Florida? Well, what we've identified is that by working together, both with an internal program within an institution and then an external statewide initiative like Complete Florida, we support each other's efforts. And the ways in which we do this are stop out campaigns. Many institutions will provide us a list of students who have stopped out so that we can continue that outreach. Some of the research that we've done, particularly through learning through the Graduate Network, is that it'll often take 14 high quality engagements before a returning adult learner will make the decision to come back. That's a lot of effort. So what we have done recently, we have launched a new CRM platform in Salesforce. It has really transformed the way we've been able to work with our partner institutions and establish partnerships with external entities that are all aligned with trying to help more people return to college and finish their degree. So through the use of technology, we can keep that messaging, that outreach going while our institutions are focused on helping students stay in college and complete their degrees. We've developed co-branded communication toolkits. Often we say that we want to make it easier, not only for students, but for our partners. And sometimes it's having the right message to say and when to say it. So some of the ways in which we've used co-branded communication toolkits are through employer partnerships. We work with employers to design messaging that they can push out to their employees, or we've worked with school districts and designed messaging and content that they can use to give to parents of students on returning to college. So when we're partnering with not only institutions, but community organizations and industry organizations, we're able to pair up this work with a trusted source and gain more traction and extend our reach. We now have 22 institutions offering 200 plus programs. And you'll note 200 programs, that could be overwhelming for somebody trying to figure out where they should start. So it's really important that our coaches understand what the goals are for the people that we work with and help them navigate some of the options, because many of them say they just don't know what their best option is. We also try to leverage our scholarship dollars. We've given over 2 million scholarships since we launched our pilot in 2014. And we know that we need to really focus on that last dollar scholarship. So one way that we have done that is by partnering with the Teach Scholar Award program. So childcare employees who are part of the Teach Scholar Award will be funded 90% of their tuition. But we know that many childcare employees are making potentially less than $10 an hour. So even the requirement of paying 10% of tuition is often overwhelming or not an option or a reason to stop if something happens financially. So we offer the 10% scholarship to these Teach Scholar Award recipients. And we have many of our partner institutions that are also already providing programming through Teach. So it was a really good fit to leverage that funding opportunity. We provide military support, and in some cases, our military students may not need tuition dollars because they have benefits that cover that, but they may need additional support for books, textbooks, or some other area of financial need. We have employer partnerships throughout the state that have been very successful, and we find the unique ways to work with our employers and again, make it easier for them to reach out to their employees and share the benefits of working with a Complete Florida coach. We've had great success with the Florida College Access Network collaboration and the 13 local college access networks. I have 2 examples where we're working with some of the local college access networks. One is currently with LEAP Tampa Bay and their recent Lumina Talent Hub grant recipient award. They were awarded a grant to offer coaching in a regional aspect. So we're taking what we've learned through Complete Florida as a statewide initiative, and we're modifying it to bring together regional supports and really honing in on how we can influence degree attainment in a positive direction for different regions of the state. So we're starting with LEAP Tampa Bay, with an initiative called Complete Tampa Bay, and we'll be launching that very soon, working with 3 of our partner institutions in the Tampa Bay area: Hillsborough Community College, University of South Florida, and St. Petersburg College. And so we're really looking forward to identifying how we can not only extend our reach, but how we can also focus on equity and inclusion when we target different populations in a more strategic way. We started the Complete Florida networking webinars last year that have been really successful. We've brought together many topics that are common issues for all of our partner institutions. So we've found by bringing people together and learning about prior learning assessment and how you make it work at every institution, or learning about financial aid issues for returning adult learners. Then we bring all of our partners together so that they have an opportunity to collaborate and we can learn from each other. It's really important that we stress the option of affordable strategies. And one such option that we've had a lot of success with promoting is many returning adult learners might benefit from using challenge exams or CLEP exams. And the Modern States Education Alliance is one example of an organization that's put together free resources to help more students pass CLEP exams and gain credit in a timely manner. And as I mentioned earlier, we've given over 2 million scholarships since 2014 that have helped people progress and persist and complete their programs. So those, we're often asked, well, at my institution, we already have a program where we're focusing on returning adult learners. How do we work together? And so I hope that this high-level overview gave you some specific examples of how we can together target some areas and really extend our reach of this population, which is really tough to connect with. These are some examples of our local, state, and national collaborations, which I've mentioned a few of already. The Florida College System, of course, and the State University System of Florida, independent colleges and universities of Florida. Those are the primary institution systems that we partner with. And then, of course, the Florida College Access Network has helped us extend our reach. And CareerSource Florida, we are beginning to work with workforce boards to see how we can align some of the workplace training and continue through stackable credentials onto a degree so that people will have a better opportunity for continued career mobility. So what's changed in 2020? Arguably everything. So, we're all in a different spot. This presentation is normally one that I give in person multiple times a year. And now it's definitely one that has to be done virtually, like many others. But in addition to the way in which we work, unemployment has skyrocketed. So there is an increased need for upskilling and reskilling now more than ever. Higher education's move to online puts us in a unique position because we have been providing online programming since the start of the Complete Florida pilot. There's an increased need for flexible options as more people who are still working, they're working from home and they're managing their family schooling from home potentially in the future as well. The highlighting of essential industries. We highlight programs in healthcare, education, IT, and business, and those are now more than ever essential industries that people are looking for careers that will help them continue their employment. And we're obviously seeing greater student financial burdens from the COVID-19 situation that we're currently in. So what hasn't changed? And what hasn't changed is our mission. And I hope you got a chance to see the video we sent last week. And among other things, it showcased Kelly, a Complete Florida graduate. She's a great representation of what we do and why. And just a little bit of highlight about Kelly's story is she graduated from a Complete Florida program at the University of West Florida. She left college after completion of her third year. When two of her children followed in her footsteps by not finishing, she said she knew that she had to be a role model. So Kelly had the opportunity to graduate at the same time as two of her children, and today she reports that her professional opportunities have expanded. Her son and his wife are currently working in Beijing teaching English, and her daughter took a job with the National Flight Academy at the Pensacola Naval Air Station. So the point in highlighting graduates like Kelly is not only to show our returning adult learners that there are many people like themselves, but also to show the impact on how helping more people return to college and finish their degrees is a multi-generational effect on career mobility for not just one person, but families and communities and our state as a whole. So we welcome more partnerships, and we encourage you to reach out to us so that we can strengthen the way in which we do this work together, because there is a lot to do still. The governor has set a goal of SAIL to 60, where by 2030, he's expecting that we're #1 in workforce education and that we increase our degree attainment rate to 60%, which right now it's at about 49%. So there's a lot of work to do, and there's a lot of pockets of work happening throughout the state and the nation. And what we know is if we can align those pockets of work in a direction that we're being more strategic on how we reach certain populations, this will be an attainable goal and objective. So please reach out to Complete Florida. Feel free to email me at michelle@completeflorida.org, and we would love to have you become a partner. Thank you so much for your time. I'm going to open it up for a few questions, and I will see if there are any questions in the chat.
Hey, Michelle, we do have a question. What is the source of your scholarship dollars?
We are a state-funded program, so our scholarship dollars primarily come through state funds. But as I mentioned, we are looking to the future in how we can identify other areas in which we can either align those funds to extend them further, or reaching out to foundations throughout the state to see how we can build other programs that are regionally focused and help us reach more populations through financial need. And Allison, were there other questions, or I can move on to some of the frequently asked questions?
Oh, let's see. Is there a cost to partnering with Complete Florida?
That's the great thing. And I often forget to share that very important piece is there is no cost to partnership. So, it is simply a way for us to develop strategies that align our work together and reach more people. Our funding is through the state of Florida. And so there is no cost to become a partner with us, whether you're a community partner, an industry partner, or an institutional partner.
That's the only one I have right now.
Okay, I just want to address just a couple of other questions that we often get. And one of them is, my institution doesn't have fully online programs. And is that the only way that we can partner? Well, we've recently started to expand that work because we realize that throughout our state, there are in-demand programs that will help develop the talent pipeline that's very much needed in particular regions of our state. So if there is a particular program that is not online, but is a high demand workforce program, we can certainly still still partner and develop strategies to build that workforce development and that talent pipeline. I also want to talk a little bit about the onboarding process, because we often get asked about that onboarding, and Allison Romer leads our partnership development and really helps guide our institutions from setting up a Complete Florida team at each of the institutions so that we can make sure that we're working very closely together and we're truly aligning that work. We have an onboarding guide, and we have multiple onboarding partnership meetings so that we can be very clear on the work and make it easier to partner with us. There is an MOU process that Allison guides us through and makes it easier to follow up. And we really think that our Salesforce CRM is a game changer in this work. And it's the only process that I've seen as I've researched many statewide degree completion initiatives. This is the only effort that I've seen where we have two-way communications between the statewide initiative and the partners in which we work. And that's one key benefit of the Salesforce CRM, is that each partner has a partner portal, so we can collaborate together through short messaging. We can follow up on the progress of the students that we're working on together and see how they're progressing through the pipeline and through the completion of their program. And we can report out and observe strategies that are effective or maybe need to be tweaked in order to gain traction and have more impact. So again, we will share this recording. We look forward to increased partnerships, and we welcome the opportunity to meet one-on-one to discuss further and answer any additional questions. So thank you so much for your time, and we wish everyone a great day and a great rest of the year.